Work from home revolution! People of the world, welcome to Send It Rising. I'm your host, Kellen Kautzman, president of the Work from Home Revolution. Today on the show, ad-free Google search alternative that is actually worth using. Want less ads? Stick around, I'll show you how. Henry Winkler is continuously shocked that his dances keep going viral on TikTok, saying he joined only because his granddaughter insisted. Go Henry Winkler's granddaughter. Google offers not to put news showcase into search results in Germany as antitrust probe rolls on. Google's in a bit of hot water. We're going to see how they navigate that space. Google device utility app from Sonos Lawsuit is off to a rough start with review bombing and messy performance. We covered this in yesterday's episode, talking about how Google is going to have to unroll software updates, making their Sonos worse. Their devices worse because of the Sonos lawsuit. Google Docs and breathing exercises, a look at the Eric Adams system of management. What is it? Why is it? Is it good? Is it bad? We'll dive in. Participating in Facebook 10-year challenge may make your site vulnerable to hackers. Why is that? We'll dive in. January 6th committee subpoenas Google, Facebook, Twitter, and Reddit in probe of Capitol attack. All links to all articles that we go over in the show are right there in the description. Welcome to Send It Rising, your home for social media news, entrepreneurship, marketing, etc. Tell a friend. Ad-free Google search alternative, this one from gizmodo.com. When a company like Google controls more than 90% of the search engine market, it's always seemed near impossible for any competitor to woo away the company's users. And yet, we've got Duckduckgo and Brave and other upstarts like that. Turns out Neeva is another big competitor, according to the article. They're taking at least a few design cues from its biggest competitor. You wouldn't think an ad-free search would make that much of a difference, the article continues, but having tried out Neeva for a little while, it's like night and day. So let's talk a little bit about Duckduckgo. It's a great search engine. I've enjoyed using it. I also enjoy using Acacia. Folks, fans of the show, have been hearing about me talking about how Acacia uses the Bing algorithm and it plants trees based off of the revenue it generates. So, for example, if there's a personal injury attorney that's going to pay $35 a click, and a user were to go to Acacia and click on an ad for said personal injury attorney, they would be donating $35 worth of trees. Not the user, of course, the personal injury attorney. Interesting. And so now we've got Neeva, which apparently is a good alternative. If you haven't checked it out, might be worth a look. Henry Winkler doing well on TikTok. If you've got an audience, let me tell you, TikTok is a wonderful place to get some love. He's a 76-year-old actor. He never expected the response, and yet there we go. He has over 1.2 million followers. He's dancing in front of a tree. Can you imagine being 70-some years old and just going, let's give it a shot? I love it. Good for him. And I'm very happy for his granddaughter as well. According to insider.com, the videos have been viewed at 9.7 million and 2.1 million times. Good for Mr. Winkler. TechCrunch.com, Google offers not to put news showcase into search results in Germany as antitrust probe rolls on. Oof. Big tech suffering in Europe a bit. According to TechCrunch.com, the German Federal Cartel Office announced today that the company has proposed several measures in response to its antitrust concerns, which also include taking steps to put clear blue water between news showcase contracts and ongoing negotiations with publishers related to copyright licensing obligations. Oh my goodness. As I've mentioned on the show before, individual countries are taking on the multinational corporations. Australia fought for their journalists. There have been a number of lawsuits in Europe. This is just one more. The article continues, unilateral attempts by German lawmakers around a decade ago to force Google to pay licensing fees to local publishers for displaying snippets of their content in Google News were thwarted by the tech giant. So it just goes to show that these multinationals have so much power. They are at times as powerful as local governments, which is to say that they can, I don't want to say bully, that may not be the appropriate word, but they can definitely throw their weight around. We'll see what happens in Germany. Google's device utility app from Sonos Lawsuit is off to a rough start. This from 9to5google.com. Google Assistant speakers and Chromecast compatible products were hit with some big changes last week as Google lost a lawsuit from Sonos that required the company to make some changes. Now the device utility app Google built to work around those changes is being review bombed. Oof. I've never heard those two words used together, but it can't be good as users express their discontent. That is not good. A lot of one-star reviews coming out. The Sonos lawsuit had a minor effect, according to the article, on current users of Google products, but for new customers or those who simply need to reset a device, things certainly are in shambles. It just goes to show that just because you're Google doesn't mean that you are completely and totally immune to these sorts of lawsuits. Just because you have a team of lawyers does not mean you're going to win every lawsuit. And so here we have Google suffering because they simply did not use their own technology. They're using technology from Sonos, and they are paying the price. Gothamist.com, Google Docs and breathing exercises, a look at the Eric Adams system of management. Okay, Mayor Eric Adams is a retired New York City Police Department captain. He's quoted as saying, "I tell people I have one rule. You don't stand for me, I stand for you." He continues, "If they see me as this deified person, I'm not going to get the best out of them. But if they see me as just another person in the building who's trying to make our city better, they're going to feel comfortable. And comfort brings confidence." I love that. So this is sort of management 101. I've been managing folks for years now. And despite the fact that I sound like I am 24, I do have a couple of years of ownership under my belt. And let me tell you, it's easy to sort of sit back and isolate oneself as a leader and not really connect, empathize, and understand the situation that folks are going through. Corporate structures are notorious for this, where there are 4 layers of decision making, and once the task finally reaches the bottom, you could say, of the pool, these folks look up and go, how did you possibly come to this particular decision, given the fact that it is an ID 10T error? Have you heard of that? Spells idiot. So Adam said he spent nearly a year before becoming the city's second black mayor reading about different types of leaders, from politics to the armed services to professional sports coaches. Quote, "Once I recruited people who were emotionally intelligent, who were sound, who knew how to handle conflict," he said, "I can just give them the mission and they are carrying it out." This is so very, very true. Hiring is 95% of owning a company. It really, really is. And a lot of folks that are very good at interviewing are good because they interview a lot. It is one of those things where you got to have faith in people. I give people a lot of breathing room to do their jobs, do what they do. And then you got to pay them well, and you have to trust them. And if they break your trust for whatever reason, you have to be willing to let them go. This is as simple as it gets. Participating in Facebook 10-year challenge may make you vulnerable to hackers, according to WGAL.com. Why might that be? If you've been on Facebook, according to the article, over the last few days, you've probably seen the 10-year challenge pop up. While it may seem harmless, taking part could make you vulnerable to hackers because it is data mining. You may have heard of this particular practice in the past. It's essentially where folks are looking to get as much information from you as possible, because many times your password has something to do with this information, where you live, etc. According to the article, the answers could be used in security questions when you establish accounts online. And as people have more and more money in cryptocurrency, passwords are going to become increasingly powerful. Right now, the bank is somewhat responsible for the money that you have there. Cryptocurrency, Coinbase, like products, websites, they don't have that same FDIC insured coverage. And so it is important to make sure that your passwords are quite safe and that they are quite secure. Final article of the day, January 6th, committee subpoenas Google, Facebook, Twitter, and Reddit in probe of Capitol attack. The House Select Committee investigating the deadly Capitol riot has subpoenaed social media giants Twitter, Reddit, and the parent companies of Facebook and Google. The chairman said on Thursday, the Select Committee has demanded a trove of records last summer from those and other social media companies, but said it received inadequate responses from 4 of the largest platforms, and the committee wants a slew of records relating to domestic terrorism. So it just goes to show that giant corporations, social media companies are being held more and more liable for the attacks on our country, for the violence that ensues when they are an arbiter. I'm not sure if that's the word, if they are a facilitator of the communication that arises in these particular circumstances. And so we will see how this unfolds. But these social media companies, they've got to reckon with their power. Let's summarize the news of the day. There's an ad-free Google search alternative. You may have heard of Duckduckgo. You may have heard of Brave, but have you heard of Neva? It's got rave reviews online. You might want to check it out. Henry Winkler doing a bunch of dances on TikTok, getting even more popular. Can you dance on TikTok? Can you become popular? Google offers not to put news showcases into search results in Germany as the antitrust probe rolls on. Google is not immune to pain. They are suffering in a number of ways. The device utility app Sonos Lawsuit is another example of how they're getting beat up on multiple fronts. If you're going to manage folks, make sure that they've got great emotional intelligence, the Eric Adams system of management. Hire well, let me tell you. It is going to save you a lot of headaches in the future. Participating in the Facebook 10-year challenge may make you vulnerable to hackers. That's absolutely true. Do not put any sort of personal information out there, but you didn't need me to tell you that. January 6th, committee subpoenas Google, Facebook, Twitter, and Reddit in probe of Capitol attack. I have found that it is impossible to separate social media from politics. The two are simply one and the same. In the same way that search engine optimization and social media have become sort of the same world. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Kellen Kautzman. I own SendItRising.com, SendItRising.com, WordPress websites that will blow your mind. We're currently doing a website for a gentleman by the name of Saint Warwick, who is a A-list celebrity photographer. We are very excited to be working with him. But we work with folks from all walks of life, plumbers, electricians, attorneys, Chinese pharmaceutical companies, etc. So if you ever have any questions about marketing, I'd love to chat with you. Kellen, K-E-L-L-E-N, @SendItRising.com. Thank y'all. We'll see y'all next time. Bye for now.